Thank you for staying with us. It's time now to take a look at stories making the headlines on the front page of Nigerian newspapers. And I begin with the Punch newspaper. The major story here says tribunal to consider PDP Labour Party's live broadcast request. Some riders broadcast proceedings live is of national importance. Broadcasting proceedings live is of national importance. Atiku's legal team, Labour Party, insists. All the details on the front page of the Punch newspaper. We move to the Nigerian News Direct now. Osun elections. Supreme Court dashes Oyetola's return hope, affirms Adeleke's victory. And the writers here say God has proven his owner and giver of power. Adeleke is speaking. A law governing our election has truly brought power to the people. Atiku reacting to that. You find all the details on the front page of the Nigerian News Direct. Now to the front page of the Daily Independent. Buhari canvasses support for Adeleke's programs in Osun as Supreme Court affirms his election as governor. Buhari canvasses support for Adeleke's programs in Osun as Supreme Court affirms his election as governor. All the details on the front page of the Daily Independent. Now to the front page of the Blueprint. Buhari on Supreme Court verdict. It's time to end bickering, develop Osun State. PDP congratulates Adeleke, APC concedes. Beaver's technology has come to stay. Atiku is reacting. Revalidation of my mandate, call to duty. Osun governor speaking there. We move now to the Nation newspaper. National Assembly, Akpabio Abbas rally lawmakers for support. National Assembly, Akpabio Abbas rally lawmakers for support. You find all the details on the front page of the Nation newspaper. To the Daily Times now. National Working Committee's endorsements polarize APC as CPC, ACN, ANPP factions emerge. National Working Committee's endorsements polarize APC as CPC, ACN, AMPP factions emerge. All the details on the front page of the Daily Times. To the Leadership newspaper ahead of inauguration. 2,585 appointees, aides brace for job loss. Ahead of inauguration, 2,585 appointees, aides brace for job loss. Mike.
All right, I have the Nature News here. That's where we're starting from on this side. And it says, water bill, minister blames misinformation for non-passage. It says a 69% already in existence. That is what the Nature News has. From there, let's go to Daily Trust. And it's talking about revenue sharing formula for states and federal government. El Rufai wants 80% for states revert to 1963 Constitution. All right, and Soludo, that's the governor of Anambra State, advocates devolution of powers. Let's deploy tech to diversify economy. Pantami saying this as the Minister for Communication. All right, El Rufai wants 80% for states revert to 1963 Constitution, right? That's what the Daily Trust has. Let's move to the Guardian newspaper. The Guardian says, amid 168% tariff hike in 8 years, Nigerians pay premium for unavailable electricity. Okay, that's the Guardian newspaper. From there, let's go to Business Day. Telecoms becomes Nigeria's golden goose against all odds. Telecoms becomes Nigeria's golden goose against all odds. That's what Business Day has. From there, let's go to This Nigeria, which is the last one we're looking at. And it says, Otedola tackles Elumelu over failed Transcore deal. He betrayed, backstabbed me, says oil and power mogul in a public statement. This issue has been back and forth between the two billionaires. And you have to grab a copy to get details of what's going on between them. All right, Veronica, that's all we have.
All right, Mike, let's look at this matter of engendering true federalism as being put forward by the governor of Kaduna State, talking about El-Rufai. At an event yesterday, I think, he was talking about looking into the revenue sharing formula. And just to quote him, he said that if we reverse the revenue allocation and the federal government has only 20% and 80% go to the states, then you go to the exclusive list and revert to the 1963 Constitution, where the federal government had limited functions and most of the functions went to the state. Now, if your general hospitals don't work, if your primary schools don't work, if your secondary schools don't work, and so on, you ask your governor, then things will begin to change. The states will have enough resources to compete, just like in the days of regional government.
Yeah, Governor Rufai is very right when it comes to how 1963 worked, because that was when we were using the Republican Constitution, and that was the time that Nigeria actually practiced the true federalism.
Yeah.
Now, the regions, the northern region, the western region, the southern region, the eastern region, as well as the Midwestern region, all existed, at that time. And we saw how Nigeria developed on the crops, the cash crops that were produced at that time. Of course, we had oil, but oil was not the primary commodity for Nigeria at that time. It was groundnut, it was cotton, it was cocoa.
What was
palm,
peculiar to
exactly.
each region?
And each of those regions, in fact, some of the developments, the massive development we have seen in this country, where Nigeria was in its heydays, was a product of that federal system of government at that time. Fast forward to now. Now, if we're going to say let's revert to 1963, there are some considerations we have to make. Recall that in 63, under the First Republic, we're running the parliamentary system of government. Now we have the presidential system of government. Good. The constitution is different. The style and form of government is now different. Now we have 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory. Now, we're not working based on regions anymore. So if we're going to revert to that federalism, then there has to be some other considerations that were not in 1963 that we have to consider now, which makes it a little more complex, but doable. Recall that just a few months ago, the president has signed into law removing railways, removing power, removing correctional centers from the exclusive list into the concurrent list. So it means that if you watch the body language, it means the restructuring has started. Right. That's what it means. Because all this while Nigerians have been saying, let's restructure. Devolution of powers, reduce, decongest the exclusive list, and then put some things on the concurrent list so that states can also be involved in this process.
And compete.
So now that the president Buhari has started it, it tells you that restructuring has started. It may not be the way that some people have envisaged.
A lot of people have been envisaging.
Yeah, but it won't also be as difficult as some persons would have envisaged. It's just the issue of understanding. Okay, let's put this thing here. And that will also mean, like Governor Rufai has said, that the moment you're reducing those exclusive responsibilities of federal government to states, then it means some of your revenue also has to go.
Yeah.
That's what it means. So the issue of police, the issue of resource control and all, some people just feel, oh, governors are going to abuse. No, the point there is that even if some do, there will be a time where everything will move on. We have this bandwagon effect in Nigeria, where recall that in 1997, 98, thereabout, when Buba Marwa was the military administrator of Lagos State, he started this Operation Sweep.
Yeah.
That time, that was a special squad, for Lagos, security squad for Lagos that time. Before you knew it, all the states in the federation started having operation this, operation that, operation, that's...
So it became a competitive thing.
Exactly. It became a competition where, if it is happening in Lagos, then we can do the same thing.
We can do it.
Exactly. Yeah. The LASMA that Lagos has, a lot of states have also duplicated. In fact, they came to Lagos to come and study the templates. Now they are duplicating LASMA in their own various states. So we work, sometimes development works by bandwagon. If you see that what's going on there and is nice, you copy it for yourself. So that is how states will also develop.
Yes.
If some states are abusing it and they have seen how some other states are utilizing their funds, they will also follow suit. So the fear of, governors are going to, abuse the police, or if they create state police, governors are going to abuse resources. Those are just excuses not to move Nigeria forward. So recall that Governor
of trusting the
government. Exactly. Besides that, recall that Governor Rufai chaired the APC-led restructuring committee.
Yes.
So
that has not,
he has an understanding of what there were recommendations that were made.
But some of it have not been implemented.
None has been implemented in the true sense of it.
Yeah.
Apart from the government, like I was said, the President Buhari had signed, the amendment of the Constitution where about three major items, although there were about 16 items that were considered in that amendment that the President signed, but 3 major items Nigerians were seeing as a big change, huge change, is the power railway and correctional centers that is now removed from the exclusive list and is now on the concurrent list. So Governor Rufai has a good understanding of what all of these things are when it comes to what recommendations were made, what the objective will be, what the benefits will be, how it will improve. So all of those things are there. So I believe that if that restructuring is done in such a way that we go back to 1963, where each state, that time it was region, but now each state has the power, has the authority to begin to work based on how to galvanize the resources within the state, your terrain or within your jurisdiction, it will be better off for Nigeria. So that's what we should be looking at, because this system where
to the people.
Governor Soludo of Anambra State was revealing that there are about over 1,000 MDAs at the federal level. 1,000 MDAs. What are they doing? Now they have to decongest some of these things. For instance, we have the Federal Ministry of Agriculture. You have Federal Ministry, Water Resources. There are some of these things
which are also duplicated in the states.
Of course. They are all on the concurrent list. However, the point there is some of these things should just be either a department or unit for monitoring and for help in attracting foreign resources and foreign direct investment into those areas. States should be able to handle issues of agriculture because agriculture is grassroots. You understand? Agriculture is totally grassroots.
Yes.
Water resources are grassroots related issues, apart from the oceans where, it is at the other side. So all of those things should be left to states, where states will be busy, with the issues of agriculture, with the issues of environment, with the issue of water resources, animal, and as the case may be.
Even security.
Even security. Security is local. Right? So it's a situation where we have never had it in such a way that states are allowed to handle security. So it looks like, there's something. No. When the military, the federal government and the military is focused on the territorial integrity, where there is no invasion from the
external
outside,
forces,
then you strengthen the states, you strengthen the institutions to maintain law and order within the country. So the moment you do that, you won't be looking like, security is too big. You'll be too big for states. It's not too big for states. If you create enablement, local government can handle security. If you create enablement, traditional rulers can handle security. They all know their terrains because every part of this country is under one traditional ruler or the other.
But there are those who will say that, yes, as much as we are looking to empowering states, there's still the matter of local government autonomy that is still a struggle.
Yeah, that will be a struggle, because if you compare the issue of...
So if you empower the states, how are you sure that it will cascade those powers to the other levels of government within the state?
There's an argument regarding the issue of local government, whether they should be... Now, we were doing a study sometime, we talk about having 3 tiers of government, the federal, state, and local government. Now, if you have 3 tiers of government and there is a concurrence between the state and federal government, now, some persons have argued that there should be a concurrence also between the local government and state government.
Yeah.
But if you make comparison between the Nigerian templates and some other templates around the world, there is no direct concurrence in that sense between the local government or the counties and the state government per se.
But we have to look at our peculiarities.
No, we'll look at our peculiarity.
As we want to borrow the templates from other countries, we have our peculiarities.
Yeah, but systems of government, there's nothing new around the world.
Right.
So
but then we must consider our
you copy from here and then you amend here and there. Exactly.
Yeah.
So some persons have argued that giving concurrence and exclusivity to the local government as a tier of government shouldn't be. They feel that it should just be an appendage of the state. Now, the laws in Nigeria have not totally given that enablement. As much as it is, local government is recognized as a third tier of government, it is in the fourth schedule of the Constitution. The Constitution does not give it the kind of powers in concurrence that it gives to state, between the state and federal government, in such a way that the Constitution said if there is a clash between the state and local and federal government by any means, the federal government will take precedence. There is no provision like that also between the states and the local government, in such a way that if there is a clash between the local government and the state government should take there is no provision like that. So when you look at the residual lists, there's a fusion between what the roles of local government and state government should be. There's a certain fusion in that sense. As much as you give powers to local governments to name streets, create markets, to collect TV rates and wheelbarrow, whatever. Revenue, exactly. So because all of those things are not clear-cut, some state governments or state governors abuse it, and nobody has gone to court.
Now that is the issue. That's the issue.
But the issue there is that because the Constitution is not very clear, if the Constitution doesn't create dichotomies to show the difference in black and white, if you go to court,
what are you arguing?
It's an academic activity. You just go to court to test it. Let's just test this thing.
Yeah,
you test it, and then at the end of the day, you may not go anywhere. So that's why this thing has been hovering like that. But if the restructuring is done, as Governor Rufai and Governor Soludo are advocating, it will make Nigeria even better. Because even in 1963, there were local governments. There were counties, there were governments at that level, as the case may be, right? We recognize them in that they were not like we have them now, but they were there at that level.
Their presence was felt.
So that's the thing. So we have to begin to look at how to traditional rulers are almost dormant as far as the Constitution is concerned. We should be able to look for how to engage them now, even if it is for community development, tourism, local government, security, markets, and all of. We should be officially. It's not the issue of, okay, let us give reverence to. Reverence is not enough. We should be able to give them constitutional responsibility. Yes. Although, before the coming of the pre-colonial administrations, they were the government at that time. They were the government that were recognized until after the colonialism and the indirect rule and all of that. Now, we had official governments. When we didn't have official governments as we know him, the traditional institutions were the governments that were known. They were the ones who ruled. So the point there is now that we've transited that authority to government, to official government, what are we going to be doing with the traditional institutions? Yeah. Because they were, in fact, naturally you see that people still reverence, people still respect, people still adore their traditional rulers. So it means that they have some level, they wield immense influence on the people, on how people think, on how people, shaping people's opinion as the case may be. So how do we utilize them? We are paying them money, so why shouldn't we engage them formally so that they can help the society, especially in those levels of areas?
Yes. We
have cultures, we have festivals, and in fact, some of the cultures in some of the parts of Nigeria, a lot of persons are saying we need to rejig some of the cultural laws, especially in the area of marriage.
As the world is changing.
Exactly.
Look at also those key areas.
Very good. Because in fact, for the issue of marriage precisely, some persons, when you are in love with someone, and then you're going to get to the issue of marriage.
Do I know where this is coming from?
Where is it coming from?
I don't know.
When you think of what you're going to pay, in fact, sometimes they give you handouts, a very huge handout, in fact, a booklet, as list of things that you're going to bring.
Or
Otherwise, you
or
cannot marry.
pay dues for the times you did not come to
Exactly.
village.
So all of those
Attend
kind of
meetings.
things,
Right.
burial festivals, burial formalities, a lot of those things have to change.
Yeah.
I am glad when they talked about the issue of inheritance for females.
Women, yeah.
That is changing now in many of these localities where females can now inherit. In fact, the Supreme Court came up with an outright pronouncement in that area. Females should be able to inherit their father's whatever, or even inherit their husband's property at death. So all of those things have to be amended.
Absolutely.
And recall that you did one documentary on female genital mutilation. It should also be the responsibility of the traditional rulers to ensure that some of the... So these are all issues that we can formally bring traditional rulers into handling so that, within your domain...
the level of influence they wield.
That's the thing.
Absolutely. But as we look at all of this, the matter of accountability is also key. Because we spoke about this yesterday sometime. We were talking at how to hold our leaders accountable. If you give some of these governors these powers, how do we hold them to account if they do not deliver on, for instance, like Governor El Rufai pointed out, if the hospital is not functioning properly, if schools are not functioning properly, if what is required are not present, how do we hold these people to account? We have to put in place measures to ensure that people are held to account, and so quickly, not something that will have to go through a long process.
There are several ways to hold people to account. One,
but we have not seen that.
Yeah, we've not seen that. We've not seen that
as much as we want it to.
We've not seen that because when they say they have weaponized poverty,
yes,
where those who are supposed to speak, when you are on a payroll of certain persons, you are supposed to be asking questions. At the end of the day, you feel like, this is the one I have seen for today because there's no job for me to take care of myself. So this is my benefactor. So why should I be asking him questions? So that's the issue. Those are some of the challenges. But the point there is that we have seen some institutions that have been, some NGOs now, that are looking into what governments are promising to do and they have not done, or what they have promised to do and they have done, as the case may be. At least they are creating awareness. Where they say, okay, this governor said he has done this, or this House of Rep member said, or senator said from his constituency project, he has done this, he has done that. We went there, this is what we saw, this is what we didn't see, as the case may be. All of those things are there. So it's a gradual process, although it's slow,
very slow.
But it's a gradual process where people are beginning to understand their rights and in their place. So enlightenment creates an opportunity for people to begin to recall that in this country, there hasn't been opportunity to recall members of House of Rep, Senate, House of Assembly.
Yeah, the process is quite cumbersome.
It's cumbersome. Yeah. But however, the point there is that it still can be done.
Well,
right? They have tried. It was tested. It didn't work.
It didn't work.
But the point there is the time will come where it could be done.
Can we make an amendment to that?
Even if the amendment is not made, because the issue there is that, you see, the way it is done, it is also done to prevent those who are mischievous, who will use it also to distract the person. Recall that the immunity clause of the chief executives it stands for this kind of issues too. Some person can just let's just distract this person so that he doesn't perform. So it's to mitigate that kind of a situation.
But then you cannot hold the person to account.
Yes, but the issue there is it can still happen. Recall in this country where in 2015, for the first time in the history of Nigeria, where an opposition government unsat a sitting government, a lot of persons felt it is not going to happen ever in Nigeria. Recall that members of the old party were saying that they were going to run this country for the next 50 years. All of those things were made, right? But when it happened the way it happened, it became an eye-opener. So it tells you that some things, people, politicians, human beings reason that these things are impossible when it will happen.
Even in the last election.
Even in the last
outcome.
That's the thing.
That a lot of persons were shocked.
Exactly. So it tells you that when the people become resolute on any issue that they want, some things that originally you would have seen as impossible will become possible. That's how the thing is. So it's just the people becoming more conscious. It's the people becoming more organized and more knowledgeable about how these institutions work, how these processes work. So the moment you have that understanding and you organize yourself, anything is possible. Because the issue there is that NGOs, non-governmental organizations, there are institutions that are able to galvanize people in certain areas. When it comes to women, there are so many NGOs helping women to skill and reskill them, to upgrade their capacity as the case may be. There are some for youth, there are some for children, there are some for, as the case may be, there are some for rural people and all of that. So there are also NGOs for, creating democratic institutions and strengthening them as the case may be. So all of these things are helping the country to grow and create capacity in citizens.
Absolutely.
So as time goes on, all of those things that were seen as impossible are actually possible. They will change with time.
I believe this is also setting an agenda for the incoming administration, who is also paying attention to all of these kinds of conversation. They have once in a while mentioned the matter of restructuring, and though we understand that restructuring varies from one society, one region to the other, but then how we are able to put all of that together to ensure that whatever we do, whatever amendments we make, Nigeria is the one benefiting at the end of the day, such that everyone, no matter the region you come from, wherever you find yourself, you can hold government to account and that government can deliver on its promises.
Yes.
That's what Nigerians are not actually asking for too much.
Oh, God bless you. Nigerians are not asking for too much. The only thing we're asking is we are paying our revenues, our taxes. And as we pay taxes, you said you were going to provide road, you said you were going to provide housing, you said you were going to provide security, you said you will provide power so that we can continue with our job. Unfortunately, none of those, or at least not even up to 50% of those are provided. So when that is not provided, what do you want Nigerians to do? An average Nigerian now, the moment you start work, you're providing your own house, you're providing your own power, you are government in yourself, to the level where even within your vicinity where you live, all of you will come together, contribute money for security. So you do it in such a way that either you are hiring an outright security agency to keep the place safe, or we decide to buy some equipment like torchlight, rain umbrella, rain boots, and things like that, so that we take turns to stay awake. In some places, we've seen that in the past, where some people take turns to stay awake. If in my house, for instance, I am the only male there, we could decide, okay, me and my neighbor and the other one will come together, we'll break ourselves into group or teams, where from 7 p.m. to 12 midnight, we will keep vigil in the area. Then another team will take off from 12 midnight to 5 a.m. in the morning, as the case may be. The next day, we rotate. We've been seeing that happen in some places where security is a challenge, or insecurity is an issue in such areas. So the point there is that the moment Nigerians are given these basic things, forget it. Nigerians will thrive. Take Nigeria to the next level.
They just want an enabling environment.
That's what it is.
Where they can thrive.
The movie industry or the entertainment or the creative industry is a very heavy catalyst. For instance, take the Ikoyi Link Bridge as an example. Right? It was constructed by a company together with Lagos State government, as the case may be. Just say, okay. But because the thing was beautiful, the aspect of marketing that bridge or marketing Lagos, movies took it over. In fact, every movie in Nigeria, Nollywood movie, you will see that bridge.
Yes.
Music videos, you will see that. So people will be like, those who are not in Lagos will be like, wow, is that Nigeria or is that Lagos? As the case may be. Recall that it used to be the National Theatre at the time. Because of the beauty, because of the shape, as the case may be. People, the moment you see it in any movie, you know, oh, that's Nigeria. So the moment some basic things are provided, leave the rest. Nigerians will handle the rest.
To manage them.
Right? When it comes to marketing Nigeria, if it is tourism and all, we will handle, Nigerians will handle it. Recall the Calabar Carnival that used to take place. Nigerians, they marketed the thing by themselves. It became an international event where people come. In fact, Brazil, Southern America, where all of this kind of carnivals originated from, they'd send delegation and contingent to the Calabar Carnival. So the point there is that Nigerians are not asking for too much, like you said. Government should just provide their own basic whatever, and then Nigerians will take it up from there and begin to make Nigeria prosper. If even in the monies in the revenue government is looking for, the people will pay enough taxes.
Of course, if they see what
If they see what you're doing, if they see what you're doing, enable new startups, let them, as many startups as possible, they pay taxes.
Of course.
Right? So that's what the thing should be. I feel that some of the persons who assume or emerge, as chief executives have not really been seeing things from those perspectives enough. Where they come into government, they have their agenda, yes, but if your agenda is not translating to the benefit of Nigerians, you should rejig or reshape or re-strategize or reorganize your agenda so that Nigerians can benefit.
Absolutely.
That's what it should be.
Absolutely. We've had an extensive conversation on this, and I believe that those in authority who should understand that what Nigerians need is not too much.
No,
Just
it's not
deliver
too
on your
much.
promises,
Yeah.
and the rest is history.